it was nothing like it is now, with the people they know about the case. So it's kind of nice. Everyone's real low key.
I talked to Laura. She had come out to talk to the kids. My attitude at the time was, look, we cannot do this. They were adamant that this should be a case of innocence. We don't want you to focus on death versus life or death. This is a case of innocence. My reaction was, if it is a case of innocence, what I said is that there's all this investigation that has to be done on Abraham Lucas, and we're going to partnership in San Francisco. How can we possibly get the resources to get on the ground and investigate this? And so, Lord let me say, we'll find a way to do it.
I've got my job, my other job, so that I can work full time on the case.
Attorneys for Damian Eccles are appealing their client's conviction on Arkansas Rule 37, ineffective counsel. Prosecutors disagree. It was effective. It was thorough. It was a 17-day trial. Outside the court, those supporters unveiled a banner of more than 2,500 postcards, each pleading to free the West Memphis Three.
It was always about free the West Memphis Three. We were raising funds. That was what we did. Raising money. Fence was raised money. It was great. The day was coming. So
Damien liked to hang out alone. It turns that he was depressed. Hello. He liked to listen to rock music. Check. He was over his ass. Aggressive love. I mean, are you kidding me? Could have been me.
Message, namely the parents of the children, will share their displeasure with legal support.
baby was murdered and butchered like an animal, and his two friends were too. So whatever punishment they get,
And Michael's mother, Diana Gregory, is telling us,
Because if you are seen to be sticking up for someone who someone else truly believes has murdered a child, there's no way you can reasonably get arrested.
pathological hatred of bullying and people in power crapping people who have no ability to it should speak to how that was that I can see in the case of the Westminster wrong was prevailing, and that wrong was being perpetrated by people who I believe knew they were doing wrong.
Okay, so on turf in a dome,
Coming off a bye.
off a bye.
What are we thinking? I think it's 5 like parlay.
I was thinking so.
I don't think we take it early season.
I was thinking 400 yards. I was thinking 500 yards.
I was thinking. Good thinking. Thank you.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Probably not.
Are we overthinking this? I don't think we thought about it enough.
You guys should probably keep thinking.
New customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win.
Break the law, face the badge. You've been on hunting.
Conservation officer. Want to make sure you don't got any pile of dead deer or loaded rifle or anything.
Illegal methods. Thousands of dollars.
It's gonna be a rough day to lose. Just make sure you don't do anything not good.
Gordon's Outdoor TV.
Most people think that this case is something extraordinary, spectacular in some sort of way. People like Burnett, they're going to make a name for themselves off this case because bottom of the barrel, pure white trash that nobody's ever going to ask another question about. They thought they would say guilty, this whole thing would be swept under the rug. The state would kill me, Jason and Jesse would spend the rest of their life in prison, he would move up the political ladder. That's all they cared about. This case is nothing out of the ordinary. This happens all the time.
And the reason I'm hesitating, I'm trying to think if that's the question, but confession would be your easier case as opposed to one without direct evidence.
Jesse gonna testify against you too?
Jesse, were you forced to talk about this?
The prosecutors had a problem. They could not play the tape of Miss Kelly's statement at the second trial.
They needed Mr. and Miss Kelly to testify. I thought they were going to lose the other two. Judge Burnett appointed Philip Wells to interview Mr. and Miss Kelly to make sure he didn't really want to testify against Baldwin Nichols.
Here's a young 18-year-old, obviously under a lot of stress, facing life plus 40 years in the penitentiary. He has to make sure that whatever options and offers are available to him are looked into or communicated.
Promises of lesser sentences, a much easier life in prison.
Many defendants would have jumped on that deal. Jesse said no.
They can't come up with physical evidence. They've got to turn to witnesses who they can convince to give statements in court. That's the only kind of evidence that they can come up with.
Just when it seemed attorneys for the state had their back against the wall, Craighead County Courthouse came to an eerie silence. As 16-year-old Michael Carson, a former juvenile inmate who spent time with Baldwin, took the stand.
I was doing serious adult drugs. And I was doing a lot of them. I got out there. I thought birds had cameras on.
Michael Carson, he was fixing to go to penitentiary for several counts of residential burglary, and that is when the prosecutor got a hold of him.
Were you offered anything as far as a reward or anything of that nature?
No, sir. Jason was not very outspoken. He wasn't, up and jumping around and stuff. He's very quiet to himself type person.
What did he tell you?
He told me how he dismembered the kid. He sucked the blood from the penis and the scrotum and put the balls in his mouth. I remember not knowing why I was doing what I was doing. I remember it actually going through my head. I would have this massive illusion in my head and swear to God it was real.
And the kids, that night I let them listen to the news, they just went crazy. They said, he's a lying son of a bitch. Jason didn't tell him nothing.
I mean, I could understand why he would never want to see me again or talk to me again, but I'm just telling him right now, and I'm sorry.
I made the statement to Larry, the sheriff. I said, Larry, those kids are not guilty. He said, Joyce, he said, it's this simple. Crittenden County fucked up. Now we've got to clean up.
I'm a drug addict. I was doing a lot of inhalants. I was huffing gas all the time. It was bad. It takes your whole perspective on life and makes it a dream. And they knew that. They knew the drugs that I was doing.
Did you walk in those woods in the winter?
Yeah, that was the best time because during the summer, it's really marshy. During the winter, it was froze. The ground would be froze solid. So you didn't have to worry about all the mud, all that business.
I love the thought of being out there.
The cool, dark part of the year. It's my absolute favorite time of year. Part of it was just that whenever I was out there, it was always a time of year when I was safe. Because most people, whenever it gets cold, you know, they're not out. So it's almost like at that time of year, the entire world is almost yours. Nobody else wants it.
Jason and I were talking about leaving. It was always just the thing that Jason always loved was painting, drawing, things like that. He would do these paintings that were absolutely incredible when he had art class in school, and the art teacher would refuse to grade it because she was I don't want to say one more story. It was feel like I'm jokingly said to Lori before that I think in a lot of ways I may have brought this on myself, this entire situation, because when I was a child, I knew what my passion was, my drive was, my desire was. I loved.
That's kind of weird looking, but that's one of the things that I testified to. Claiming Jason and Jesse had known whatsoever to kill these people, that they didn't even know. And so therefore the state went to the only motiveless theory that they could possibly go to. We thought that the best thing to do would be to actually get some expert analysis on the crime itself. As far as we could see, the best person to get would be John Douglas, who was there at the creation of the FBI Behavioral Science Unit. From the evidence in the crime scene, they start to put a picture together of who committed the crime and why they committed the crime.
My role when I was brought into this case was primarily to analyze the case, to see, does it really fit the three people they have in prison? I didn't want to know anything about them. I don't become prejudiced and be swayed in any way. If I do an analysis like this, you may not like what I have to say. I'm not a hired gun. When I work on a case like this, I work for the victims. I'm working for the victims. This appeared to be what we call a lust murder. There's blunt force trauma inflicted on these children. There was evidence of sexual mutilation to one of the victims. 3 victims were hogtied with their shoelaces from their wrists to their ankles, and on the surface appear to be a sexually motivated crime. The focus of the investigation is always on the families. You start from there and you work your way out.
There were some police notes I had looked into the possibility that the stepfather might be involved.
They take me back to the police station and said, "We have information that you are involved in this crime and that you did it."
Minga, minga.
That you have something to do with disappearing boys.
It's almost more than I can believe. You know, it makes me so angry and sad that I just kind of got to hold myself here in this chair.
I had hair. I had to have over 30 pubic hairs pulled out, plus the roots.
We're going to interview the other two fathers. We're going to ask them the same question.
They said, "We're going to do the other family members just like we're going to do you."
The assumption is that the crime was unusual, it was bizarre, it was grotesque. Even when Paradise Lost 2 comes out and they are presenting a certain scenario, they're going to an equally theatrical possible perpetrator of John Myers.
There are many things we can do, even now, that can shed light on the truth of what happened to those boys. It is impossible to do something this heinous and not leave a personal imprint. We need to do extensive investigative work on Byers, investigative work that the police failed to do.
I went down to the Memphis area and conducted an initial interview. I knocked on the door. Pretty much he wanted to kick me off his porch. He didn't want to talk to me.
It was daily grind, fighting on the internet with people, being in a place and someone recognized me and get up and go call their friends. Then all of a sudden I got a mob and I got to sneak out the back door because I know I asked you this.
We need to find all of Mark Byers' living relatives. We need to find Ryan Clark. We need to figure out a strategy for getting him to talk. We need to know where and at what time he was looking for Christopher on May 5th. We need to locate all of Byers' vehicles that he had at that time and luminol test them. We need to access Byers' ex-residence and luminol test every floor surface of the house. Lots of questions and not many answers. But right now we're still stumbling around in the dark, looking for a light switch.
Mark Byers, he had a tough life. He has a criminal history. He got busted for some prescription drugs. But he is not the type of personality that would perpetrate a crime like the crimes that I was looking at here in West Memphis.
When we learned the case, the timeline just didn't add up to us.
Beyond the theatrical nature of Mark Byers, he didn't have a motive, he didn't actually have the opportunity.
It became clear to us that people were looking at Byers because they thought he was the sort of person who could do this. And our reaction to that was, the reason Damien got convicted was that people thought he was the sort of person who could do this.
When I was in the Bureau, we came up with a crime classification manual we designed. We considered satanic because these cops were bringing back these cases to us. Satanic murder, satanic murder. There were classes being offered all over the country. Oprah Winfrey had shows. Geraldo Rivera had shows. It was all over here.
Another area that you might find satanic ritual carving is in the stomach area.
This is not a satanic. There's nothing but ritual. It's a murder. It's a murder maybe by one crazy guy. But if you call this satanic, we could just have just as many murders where a Bible is left there. Does that make it a Christian murder? It's a Bible? I mean, it's nuts. It's just one crazy person.
Police satanics in our area often conduct their rituals in remote, wooded areas.
At some point, the Damien invited some meeting.
He did.
And the West Memphis police didn't seem interested in corroborating anything. They just took everything at face value.
The cult, satanic, meaning